Hey everyone and welcome to Storytime. My name is Jake and today we are going to look at the subreddit r/entitledparents, where people tell us their stories of crazy mums and dads who think they're entitled just because they have kids. If you're new around here, please hit subscribe down below so that you never miss out on another video, but for now let's sit back, relax, and enjoy some Reddit stories. Wal-Mart parking lot brawl. So, a while back, I posted the story of the time a lady completely ignored her 5-year-old daughter's head wound in favor of yelling at my mother. And in that story, I made a passing mention of the time my mum got into a fight with an entitled mother at the Wal-Mart parking lot. A whole lot of people in the comments demanded to see that story, and I'm currently trapped in a boring award ceremony, so I've got the time. This is an incident that occurred before I was born, so I know of it only via my parents' retellings. My mum is utterly mortified and hates talking about it, but it seems to be one of my dad's favourite stories about her, so it gets told. Back when my parents were first engaged, they were just out of college, broke as heck, and living in a tiny apartment right next to train tracks that kept them up at night. Because they were broke, they found themselves having to cut costs on most things, which meant shopping at places that they may not necessarily have been a fan of. My mum hates Wal-Mart. She's hated it ever since she saw a lady walking around with practically her entire butt out back when she was a kid. But this incident just cemented my mum's hatred of this place. It was August, and my mum headed out to make a grocery run. Dad stayed at home, doing Lord knows what, as mum piled into their rattling POS car and headed off to Wal-Mart. It was a hot day that day, and I mean hot. Summers where I live can get over 38 Celsius, or about 100 Fahrenheit, easily, plus humidity with no breeze. You end up feeling like a potato in a crock pot. Your insides melting as your outsides burn. It's utterly miserable. So, my mum heads into the Wal-Mart, happy to be there if only because it's out of the heat, and notices, with a pang of sympathy, that all of the employees are in full-length pants, socks, shoes, and heavy-looking t-shirts. No shorts, no sandals, no thin tank tops. For the cashiers, this wasn't too bad, as the interior of the Wal-Mart was a frigid paradise. But the same could not be said for the poor, unfortunate cart wranglers, whose heavy clothes were drenched with sweat as they were forced across the gravel expanses and round up the silver chariots left all over their lonesome. The shopping goes fine. My mum picks up what she needs, pays, and heads back out into the broiling muck of the outdoors. She loads her groceries into her car and puts her cart back where it goes because it's not hard. As she's about to get into her car, she sees an absolute whale of a woman dump a whining baby into a rusty car and push her empty cart out into the middle of the lot. Mum has worked retail jobs. Lots and lots of retail jobs. What this lady did was a bad move, especially considering the fact that one of those cart docks was literally right next to her vehicle. She could have just leaned her impressive mass about 6 inches to the left and pushed the cart in there. Instead, she shoves it into the middle of the lot, where it will not only potentially impede cars, but will also have to be retrieved by some poor employee who will likely be nearly run over trying to get it, because this is Wal-Mart parking lot and people drive like douchebags. So, my mum sighs, walks over and pushes the cart into the dock, rolling her eyes slightly as she does so. She's heading back to her car when she hears a door slam and a "Hey, you!" She turns around to see this mountain of a woman lumbering towards her, the gravel shaking as her 5 chins jiggle with every thundering footstep. She comes to a halt directly in front of my mother, her maybe 5'10" mass looming over my 5-foot flat mother, the resulting shadow providing a break from the blazing sun. "Yes?" my mother says, very confused. The lady then launches into a tirade. Mum says she doesn't remember the exact words, but the general idea was that this lady thought my mum was being snarky, insulting her somehow by putting her cart back for her. My mum defended herself, saying that she only moved the cart because where it had been was dangerous, to which the woman roars, Are you saying I'm setting a bad example for my child? Gesturing back towards her rust bucket of a car. My mum then notices that all of the windows are rolled up, and she freezes. Like I said, I wasn't born yet, but by this point, my mum knew that she did indeed want to be a mother. So, as a prospective mother, she's even more appalled at this woman's actions than an average person might be. Ma'am, she says, still trying to de-escalate the situation. I am not implying that you're setting a bad example for your child. I will say, however, that it's incredibly hot today, so even if it's only for a few moments, you really shouldn't leave your kid in a sealed, "Are you calling me a bad mother, you little rat?" The woman bellows, her hands balling into fists. Mum glares. She's been in a bad mood most of the day, so she's about done with this lady. You know what? My mum says. Yes, I am calling you a bad mother for leaving your infant in a closed car when it's such a hot day today. You'd rather pick a fight over a goddamn shopping cart than stop your baby from being boiled alive? That seems like pretty bad parenting to me. The lady gasps, then socks my mother across the face, hard enough to snap her head to the side. "You little rat," she hisses, rearing back for another swing. "How dare you!" She doesn't get to finish the sentence, as my mum cuts her off by kicking her in the side of the knee. Hard. I can understand why this lady picked a fight with my mum. She was clearly looking to throw down. And, as I mentioned, my mother was tiny. She's 5 foot nothing, about 21 at the time, though she looked maybe 18, and fairly skinny. This woman was built like a particularly flabby brick wall. My mum should have been an almost ridiculously easy target. But she didn't count on one particular thing. My mum used to be a farmhand. She did a lot of heavy manual labour. She was much stronger than she looked. And, being a very small woman who had moved to live near a large, crime-ridden city, she had a basic understanding of how to take down someone bigger than her. The whale yells, bending over to grip her knee. My mum takes advantage of the height change to jab her in the throat, effectively knocking the wind out of the woman. Before she can get back up, my mum runs over to the lady's car and is relieved to find it still unlocked. She ripped the door open, pulled the kid and his car seat, which was unsecured mind you, out of the car, set him down in the shade under the awning of the cart dock so he wouldn't be directly in the sun. Briefly checked to see if he was okay. He was, he'd only been there in about a minute or so, and then promptly made a run for it, as she didn't want to run the risk of having the cops show up. She knew that she could claim self-defense, as the woman hit her first and did so hard enough to make her nose bleed. But she also knew that throat punches were generally frowned upon, and that she had got this woman's kneecaps something good, so she didn't exactly want to test that theory. My dad said she came bursting into the apartment, plastic shopping bags dangling off her arms, blood dripping down her face, her eyes wide and wild as she launched into a tirade about what just happened. It took him about 40 minutes to stop laughing, and he's never let her forget it. What type of person throws their shopping cart into the middle of the road, that's an instant no-no, and then has a physical argument over it? Karens are definitely getting dumber. And bigger by the sounds of it. My mother is acting childish because she can't get her way. So I guess I should put a little backstory. I'm 14 and used to live with my mum up until 3 years ago. My mum and dad were on really good terms despite them not being together until I decided I wanted to live with my dad. When I told her that, it broke her heart. But at the time, I hated living with her because of how crappy school was. For some reason, something changed in her that day I told her. She started treating me and my dad like we were children. And because I wanted to try and maintain a healthy relationship with both my parents. Also, just so it isn't as confusing later, every summer I go to the parent whom I'm not living with. Anyway, onto the story. So, last Sunday, my mum had my sister call me and asked me what I wanted to do for the summer. At the time, they thought that summer break was only 6 weeks long. I wasn't too sure, but I said what I wanted to do with that in mind. If summer break is only 6 weeks long, then I would like to spend 3 weeks with you and mum, 1 week with dad, and 2 with my grandma. My mum stepped into the conversation. Excuse me? No, I want at least 4 weeks. If you can't make that happen, then you will just have to come and live with me for the rest of high school. I had thought her reaction was a little unreasonable, as she didn't even ask why I wanted it that way. See, up until this school year, I've never really had any good friends, and now this year, I have good friends. The problem is that because these friends' parents are so interesting, I'm not allowed to hang out with them unless it's in a classroom. But this summer, we were planning a get-together before sophomore year. It was supposed to be this week-long thing at one of their houses. And my grandma has been really lonely because she lives in an entirely different state with none of her family. So, of course, I wanted to see her and at least try and get rid of that loneliness for at least a week or two. But despite thinking that her reaction was unreasonable, I understood where she was coming from, as she probably just missed me. Okay, I think that would work, but I don't know for sure if my break is 6 weeks long. If it isn't, I'll let you know what's up. So, Tuesday, I find out that my summer break is actually 2 months long. So, I slightly altered my plan and texted her. Hey mum, so my summer break is actually 2 months long, with 2 weeks after those 2 months. June and July with 2 weeks of August. I was thinking that I could stay with you for all of July and a week in August. Then spend a week or 2 of June with grandma, and the rest of June with dad and some friends. Oh, okay, so you decided you're going to spend the rest of high school with me. Great, I'll start cleaning out your room now. No, I'm not. I've told you this many times before, I am staying with dad for the rest of high school, and you can't change that. Then, I'll see you at the beginning of June. No, I want to stay out here for some of the summer. I would like to see grandma for some of the summer, and also hang out with some friends that I haven't been able to due to stuff with their parents. Excuse me? How old are you? You are coming home for the summer, or for the rest of high school, period. Me, getting really annoyed, I am not. I want to spend some of my summer break with grandma, some of my summer break with friends and dad, and some of my summer break with you. Now, we kept going back and forth a couple more times, until she started to call me. So, I ignored her calls, because I wasn't in the wrong for trying to do what I wanted to do with my summer break, and I knew she was going to be yelling at me for no reason. Next, I hear that my dad and her are arguing over the phone. I didn't hear what she was saying, but my dad filled me in on it later. And according to him, this is exactly what was said to the best of my ability to remember what he told me. My son has gotten completely out of control and has disrespected me by going against my word and refusing to come to me for all of the summer. Instead, he wants to do his own thing and split it up. I demand that you force him into going to me for the whole summer. Wait, let me get this straight. So, our son told you what he wanted to do for his summer, and then you told him, no, he can't do what he wants for his summer. So then, you are now getting mad that he refuses to go to you for the whole summer and are roping me into this? Do I have that correct? Yes, you have it correct. I demand you force that little kid into staying with me for the whole summer. I swear, ever since he moved in with you, he has just become the biggest douchebag, just like his father. Okay, so now answer me this. Why would I ever send my son to some selfish, childish woman who insults the person they need help from and who also insults the son that they want to live with them? I will not force him into staying with you the whole summer. In fact, the only way you will see him this summer is if he wants it. He then hung up and went to talk to me for more of the story. All the while, my mother is trying to call him back. So, I explained to him what was going on between me and her earlier, and he leaves and answers the phone. They ended up arguing a bit. I don't know what about, I didn't want to ask. Once I was sure that they were done, I started texting my mother about how I understand why she could be upset, and I was sorry, but my plans weren't going to change. She told me it was okay and that she would accept my plans. I felt so relieved after that and went to bed. While I was asleep, she pulled a complete 180 and texted me. "Do what you want, son. Your sisters and I will enjoy a summer without you. You have your priorities, meet them. I'll see you when I see you. Have the summer home. I'm moving to the city with your sisters by the end of the summer." The next morning when I woke up and read the text message, I was ticked off. I started typing, "You can't be serious. Are you really going to take my sisters and live as far away from them just because you can't have me for the whole summer? Do you realize how childish you're being right now?" Then I sent it. Then I put my phone to the side and started to get ready. A couple seconds later, failed to send message. When I saw that, I thought that she blocked me. So I tried texting my sister to see what was up. Failed to send message. Maybe she blocked me too. So I tried texting other people that have nothing to do with my mother. Failed to send message. At this point, I realized that my mum turned my service off. I am on her plan. Just to make sure that my service was actually off, I turned off my Wi-Fi and tried using Google. "You are offline." I was angry. I woke up my dad, and he called my mother to see what the fudge was going on. They argued for a bit, and I found out that she turned off my service, and the only way she would turn it on is if I moved back with her. Right, mother, acting like this is going to make me want to live with you. I was already running late and had to ride my bike to school, which is about a 30-minute ride. Normally, I wouldn't care about being late, but all week has been finals, and at my school, if you are late, then you can't take that final and can't even enter the building until the next tests have started. I was almost late. Before I left, my dad had reassured me that it was just going to be a switch over to his plan. When I got home, we were trying to switch to a new plan, but it wouldn't work. So now, I have to buy a new phone. Thanks, mother. I hope you are happy with yourself. I know it's probably way harder than it is for me to just say, "Oh, why doesn't the dad just get full custody?" But like, she probably doesn't even care about the son. Like, why would you want to live with someone who says, you're forced to live with me? Like, I would just be like, no. Hey everyone, I hope you all had a really good day and that you enjoyed that video. If you want to check out some other videos, then click on screen right now or check out the playlist down below. If you enjoyed that video, then please do leave a like. And if you want to submit your own stories, then you can do so by joining the Discord in the top link in the description. But thank you so much for watching, and I will see you very soon.